Transgress. To break a law or moral rule. If all children were taught not to transgress the rules of common decency and good manners, the world would probably be a much better place for everyone. Transient. Lasting for only a short time. The snow is transient and will melt as soon as the sun appears. Transitory. Only lasting for a short period of time. When the doctor prescribed the medication for me, he told me to be prepared for transitory side effects that would disappear after a few days. Translucent. Allowing some light to pass through. The vase was made from translucent, milky glass. Transmute. To change something completely, especially into something different and better. After years of therapy, the woman was able to transmute her negative thoughts into positive ones. Travail. To suffer or labor painfully. He made the decision to travail during training to join the elite unit of soldiers. Travesty. A debased, distorted, or grossly inferior imitation. Everybody thought that was a complete and utter travesty. Treacherous. Likely to betray trust. He plays the part of a treacherous aristocrat who betrays his king and country. Treatise. A formal piece of writing that deals with a particular subject. I read her treatise on the Civil War and found it to be very informative. Tremulous. Characterized by or affected with trembling or tremors. Although her voice was weak and tremulous, the audience clapped politely when she finished the aria. Trenchant. Severe, expressing strong criticism or forceful opinions. I enjoy reading his trenchant comments on the relationship between sports and society. Trepidation. Fear or worry about what is going to happen. We view future developments with some trepidation. Triage. To examine problems in order to decide which ones are the most serious and must be dealt with first. The purpose of the automated phone system is to triage calls so they can be routed to the proper customer service agent. Trifling. Small or not important. Because of her busy schedule, she does not have time to engage in trifling activities that do not support her daily goals. Trite. Expressed too often to be interesting or seem sincere. I did not finish the novel because the story's plot was trite and uninspiring. Truculent. Unpleasant and likely to argue a lot. He was truculent and difficult to deal with. Truism. A statement that is so obviously true that it is almost not worth saying. As far as health is concerned, it's a truism that prevention is better than cure. Trumpet. To make people aware of something important. The press trumpeted another defeat for the government. Truncate. To make something shorter or quicker, especially by removing the end of it. Although the director loved all of his film footage, he had to truncate the movie so its runtime would be less than 45 minutes. Tryst. A meeting between two people who are having a romantic relationship, especially a secret one. Everyone knows my boss and his secretary usually have an intimate tryst during lunch. Tuck. To push a loose end of a piece of clothing or material into a particular place or position, especially to make it tidy or comfortable. The teacher asked the student to tuck his shirt into his shorts before entering the classroom. Tumid. Swollen, and larger in size than normal. My eyelid has been tumid since yesterday. Tumultuous. Very loud, or full of confusion, change, or uncertainty. Security found it difficult to control the tumultuous mob during the parade. Turbid. Not transparent because a lot of small pieces of matter are held in it. During the lab experiment, we made a turbid solution that contains suspended particles. Turgid. Excessively embellished in style or language. Even though the scientist tried to make his report simple, it was still too turgid for the average person to comprehend. Turpitude. Evil. The criminal was sentenced to life in prison for the acts of turpitude he committed. Tutelary. Having the guardianship of a person or a thing. The tutelary saint committed her existence to the protection of those who could not safeguard themselves. Tycoon. A person who has succeeded in business or industry and has become very rich and powerful. The tycoon prayed that he wouldn't lose his fortune while investing in new technology. Typify. To be an example of a particular thing or kind of thing. This trial typifies the problems juries face all the time. Tyro. A person who is new to an activity. With over 30 years experience in law enforcement, I am no tyro in the field. Ubiquitous. Found or existing everywhere. The police presence was ubiquitous at the night parade. Umbrage. To feel upset or annoyed, usually because you feel that someone has been rude or shown no respect to you. Will she take umbrage if she isn't invited to the wedding? Unabashed. Without any worry about possible criticism or embarrassment. Taking the stage, the unabashed comedian was bold and shameless with his forward jokes. Unassuming. Quiet and not attracting attention. He was shy and unassuming and not at all how you expect an actor to be. Unbeknownst. Without a particular person knowing. Monica's gambling addiction was unbeknownst to her husband. Unbridled. To free or loose from a bridle. The stallion was unbridled and allowed to gallop wherever he pleased. Uncanny. Strange or mysterious, difficult or impossible to explain. He has an uncanny ability to pick a winner. Unconscionable. Morally unacceptable. After waiting for an unconscionable amount of time, we were told to come back later. Uncouth. Behaving in a rude, unpleasant way. While George comes from a very wealthy family, he often behaves in an uncouth manner and acts as though he has no social skills at all. Underappreciated. Not duly appreciated. Her work is underappreciated by the critics. Undergird. To support something by forming a strong base for it. These are the four major theories that undergird criminal law. Undermine. To make someone less confident, less powerful, or less likely to succeed, or to make something weaker, often gradually. When engineers came to examine the cracks in the structure of the building, they discovered that years of flooding had worked to undermine the foundation. Underpinning. Support, strength, or the basic structure of something. The construction team added underpinning at the bottom of the trailer to shelter the mobile home's pipes from cold weather. Underscore. To emphasize the importance something. Since we are studying prepositions, students should use a highlighter to underscore all the prepositions in the passage. Undo. To unfasten something that is fastened or tied. If the curtains are too short, you could undo the hem to make them a bit longer. Undo. More than is necessary, acceptable, or reasonable. Because of undue stress, the doctor decided to take a break from working at the hospital. Undulate. To have a continuous up and down shape or movement, like waves on the sea. The dancers' movements were arranged so that they seemed to undulate like dolphins with the music. Unfathomable. Impossible to understand. After 5 hours, we still could not figure out the unfathomable riddle. Unfeigned. Not feigned or hypocritical. Most reality shows are scripted and are not unfeigned. Unfettered. Not limited by rules or any other controlling influence. Once the bird was unfettered and out of the cage, it flew up into the sky. Unflappable. Not likely to get worried, nervous, or angry, even in difficult situations. When a deadly tornado raced across town, many residents panicked, but Miles remained unflappable and calmly led his neighbors to shelter. Unilateral. Done independently by one group or country. Opponents of the government have criticized the president's unilateral approach and believe that broader international alliances are required. Unintelligible. Not able to be understood. He muttered something unintelligible. Unitary. Of or relating to a unit. The unitary state is ruled by a single government that has the power to make all decisions. Unjust. Not fair. They should repeal this unjust law. Unkempt. Not neat or cared for. Since Jack has not had a haircut in 6 months, he looks somewhat unkempt. Unleash. To suddenly release a violent force that cannot be controlled. I went to unleash the dog who had been chained to his cage for years. Unobtrusive. Not noticeable. A good waiter is efficient and unobtrusive. Unprecedented. Never having happened or existed in the past. Before the hurricane, there was an unprecedented demand for food supplies that left many stores empty. Unpretentious. Simple and/or sincere. The girl portrayed herself in an unpretentious way in the art class. Unprincipled. having or showing no moral rules or standards of good behavior. The unprincipled banker failed to handle the transactions. Unscrupulous, behaving in a way that is dishonest or unfair in order to get what you want. The unscrupulous teacher offered to raise her student's grade if he gave her $100. Unseemly, not suitable or polite. William acted in an unseemly manner when he wore his casual clothing to the formal party. Unsound, not suitable or acceptable. He was involved in unsound banking practices. Unsparing, extremely generous with money, time, help, etc. The entrepreneur was unsparing in his demands for perfection. Untapped, not yet used or taken advantage of. The country's forests are largely untapped resources. Untenable, not able to be supported or defended against criticism, or no longer able to continue. The losing debate team had an untenable argument. Untoward, unexpected and not convenient or unpleasant. Unless anything untoward happens, we should arrive just before midday. Untrammeled, not limited by rules or any other controlling influence. The internet allows us untrammeled access to so much information. Unverifiable, unable to be confirmed or verified. Much of the research cited in the program remains unpublished and hence unverifiable. Unwieldy, difficult to move or handle because it is heavy, large, or a strange shape. A piano is a very unwieldy item to get down a flight of stairs. Unwind, to relax after a period of work or anxiety. My doctor insisted that my anxiety would go away if I would find relaxing activities to help me unwind. Upbraid, to forcefully or angrily tell someone they should not have done a particular thing and criticize them for having done it. The police officer did not hesitate to upbraid the man for driving without insurance. Upbringing, the way in which someone is treated and trained as a child. Studies suggest that your upbringing is one of the key ingredients for success as an adult. Upend, to push or move something so that the part that usually touches the ground is not touching the ground anymore. The gardener upended each seed packet to deposit all the contents into the dirt. Upfront, speaking or behaving in a way that makes intentions and beliefs clear. She's very upfront about her feelings. Uptick, an increase in something. Because it costs a few cents more to grow the fruit than it did before, you may see an uptick in price at the grocery store. Urbane, having an understanding of the world and showing experience and confidence. The magazine's target audience is the urbane woman who is highly cultured and stylish. Urbanity, the fact or quality of being urbane. The book is a pleasure to read, reminding us of its author's characteristic wit and urbanity. Usurp, to take control of a position of power, especially without having the right to. Local control is being usurped by central government. Usury, the lending of money at extremely high interest rates. The dishonest lender's usury caused hundreds of people to lose their homes when they failed to meet the high interest payments. Vacillate, to be uncertain what to do, or to change often between two opinions. The president continues to vacillate over foreign policy. Vacuous, not showing purpose, meaning, or intelligence. Since the election is over, let us hope for a break from all the vacuous speeches. Vagary, an erratic, unpredictable, or extravagant manifestation, action, or notion. It was a vagary of the weather since the temperature dropped to freezing conditions on a summer day. Vainglorious, showing too much pride in your own abilities or achievements. The vainglorious trainer spent most of his time flexing his own muscles. Valedictory, relating to saying goodbye, especially formally. Before the president leaves the White House forever, he gives a valedictory speech that is broadcasted on all major television networks. Valiant, brave or determined, especially when conditions are difficult or dangerous. The team made a valiant effort to take the lead in the third quarter, but they were too far behind. Vanguard, a group of people who lead the development of new ideas, or a leading position in the development of something. He is in the vanguard of economic reform. Vantage, a position giving a strategic advantage, commanding perspective, or comprehensive view. History is often viewed from the vantage point of the winner. Vapid, showing no intelligence or imagination. The vapid entertainment did not hold the children's attention. Variegated, having a pattern of different colors or marks. Some horses have variegated coats that feature spots of brown, white, or black all over their body. Vaunt, to speak proudly about or praise something, especially in a way that is more than acceptable or reasonable. The actor likes to vaunt his good looks when he goes out on a date. Venal, willing to behave in a way that is not honest or moral in exchange for money. The local customs officers are accused of being involved in venal practices. Vendetta, a long and violent argument between people or families in which one group tries to harm the other in order to punish them for things that happened in the past. He saw himself as the victim of a personal vendetta being waged by his political enemies. Venerable, deserving respect because of age, high position, or religious or historical importance. The Pope is a venerable leader who is recognized for his commitment to helping others. Venerate, to honor or very much respect a person or thing. The Bible says we should venerate our parents and our elders. Veracious, honest and not telling or containing any lies. She is a veracious and trustworthy historian. Veracity, the quality of being true, honest, or accurate. Since the witness is a known enemy of the defendant, his testimony certainly needs to be evaluated for its veracity. Verbose, using or containing more words than are necessary. The verbose man took 30 minutes to give me a simple answer. Verdant, covered with healthy green plants or grass. Some of the region's verdant countryside has been destroyed in the hurricane. Verdict, an official decision made in a court at the end of a trial. She was adamant that the verdict of the jury was overly harsh. Verge, to be in transition or change. His accusations were verging on slander. Verisimilitude, the quality of seeming true or of having the appearance of being real. She has included photographs in the book to lend verisimilitude to the story. Vernal, relating to or happening in the spring. Although he was 50 years old, he appeared much more vernal than he actually was. Versatile, able to do many different things or to adjust to new conditions, or able to be used for many different purposes. The SUV is a versatile vehicle that blends in easily on the city streets and can also handle the wilderness of the mountain trails. Vertigo, a feeling that everything is spinning around, causing you to be unable to balance and therefore to fall. Because she suffers from vertigo, it is difficult for her to walk in a straight line. Vestige, a small part or amount of something larger, stronger, or more important that still exists from something that existed in the past. These old buildings are the last vestiges of a colonial past. Vex, to cause difficulty to someone, or to cause someone to feel angry, annoyed, or upset. I was vexed when the doctor arrived for my appointment over an hour late. Viable, able to work as intended or able to succeed. If the project is not viable, there is no reason for us to consider it. Vicissitude, the quality or state of being changeable. Though he had many vicissitudes in life, nothing would stop him from becoming an entrepreneur. Vigilant, always being careful to notice things, especially possible danger. Although this highway is a beautiful drive, you have to stay vigilant for deer and other animals in the road. Vim, energy and enthusiasm. Las Vegas is a fast-paced environment filled with spirited vim. Vindicate, to prove that what someone said or did was right or true, after other people thought it was wrong. The investigation vindicated her complaint about the newspaper. Vindictive, having or showing a wish to harm someone because you think that they harmed you, unwilling to forgive. In the movie, a lawyer's family is threatened by a vindictive former prisoner. Virtuoso, a person who is extremely skilled at something, especially at playing an instrument or performing. He is a musical virtuoso who runs his own school of music. Virulent, full of hate and violent opposition. She is a virulent critic of U.S. energy policy. Visage, the face, countenance, or appearance of a person or sometimes an animal. When Roddy became angry, his visage completely changed from a charming smile to an irritated frown. Viscid, having a glutinous consistency. The baby wiped her thickened visage not with my brand new dress. Viscous, thick and sticky and does not flow easily. The freshly poured tar is so viscous that warning signs have been placed around the neighborhood. Visionary, with the ability to imagine how a country, society, industry, etc. will develop in the future. He was a visionary leader who had the foresight to lead our company in a profitable direction for many years. Vishy, to destroy or damage something. Because of the obnoxious behavior of the defendant, the judge instructed the jury not to allow their personal feelings vitiate their objectivity in the case. Vitreous, made of or similar to glass. Vitreous enamel, also called porcelain enamel, is a material made by fusing powdered glass to a substrate by firing. Vitriol, violent hate and anger expressed through severe criticism. The employee was asked to refrain from posting vitriol or critical talk about his workplace on social media. Vituperate, to abuse or censure severely or abusively. Because the coach continued to vituperate his team with abusive talk, he was given a warning by the college dean. Vivacious, full of energy and enthusiasm. Judy Garland was bright and vivacious with a vibrant singing voice. Vivisection, the use of living animals in tests that are intended to increase human knowledge of human diseases and the effects of using particular drugs. When the photos of the vivisection were posted online, many people were upset at the brutal nature of killing the animals until they found it was done for scientific reasons. Vociferous, repeatedly and loudly expressing your opinions and complaints, or expressed in this way. The protesters were vociferous as they screamed outside of the government building. Vogue, a fashion or general liking, especially one that is temporary. In the 1920s, short hair for women became the vogue. Volatile, readily vaporizable at a relatively low temperature. The substance is highly volatile. Voluble, speaking a lot with confidence and enthusiasm. After my grandfather drinks a few beers, he becomes voluble and will not stop talking. Voracious, very eager for something, especially a lot of food. The football player was a voracious eater who easily consumed 2 chickens during one meal. Vulgar, not polite or socially acceptable, not suitable or acceptable in style. His manners were coarse and vulgar. Waft, to move gently through the air. My children hurried to the kitchen when the scent of freshly baked cookies started to waft. Wallop, to hit someone or something hard. Boxers wallop each other with jabs and punches. Wallow, to lie or roll about slowly in deep, wet earth, sand, or water. The pig wallowed in the mud. Wan, pale, tired, or weak. She gave me a wan smile. Wane, to become weaker in strength or influence. By the late 70s the band's popularity was beginning to wane. One, causing harm or acting without showing care for others, often intentionally. He displayed a one disregard for the facts. Ward, to turn aside something threatening. He used his umbrella to ward off the fierce sun. Warring, fighting a war or as if fighting a war. The two countries have been warring constantly for many years. Wary, not completely trusting or certain about something or someone. I'm a little wary about giving people my address when I don't know them very well. Waiver, to lose strength, determination, or purpose, especially temporarily. He has never wavered in his support for the leader. Wax, to gradually appear larger and increasingly round. When the population began to wax, there were fewer jobs and much more pollution in the city. Wedge, to put something into a very small or narrow space, so that it cannot move easily. He wedged the window open with a screwdriver. Weed, to remove wild plants from a place where they are not wanted. We must weed out the yellow flowers among the onions as soon as possible. Welter, to be in turmoil. She was weltering around on the ground. Went, to proceed on one's way. I need to win my way back to the cabin before night falls. Wet. To increase someone's interest in and wish for something, usually by giving them a small experience of it. The president gave the journalists just enough information to whet their curiosities. Whimsical. Unusual and strange in a way that might be funny or annoying. Unfortunately, his decisions are often whimsical. Whitewash. To make something bad seem acceptable by hiding the truth. The department is trying to whitewash their incompetence. Wield. To hold a weapon or tool and look as if you are going to use it. The lumberjack could wield his axe with great skill. Winnow. To reduce a large number of people or things to a much smaller number by judging their quality. You should winnow out the inaccuracies of this paper this afternoon. Winsome. Charming and attractive in a simple way. She opened her eyes and gave her mother a winsome smile. Wistful. Sad and thinking about something that is impossible or past. She cast a wistful glance at the bridal gowns in the window. Witticism. A remark that is both clever and humorous. The comedian was beloved for his witticism. Witty. Using words in an amusing and intelligent way. He was witty and very charming. Wizened. Having dry skin showing many lines, especially because of old age. While the flowers arrived looking fresh and beautiful, they have grown wizened over the past few days. Woo. To try to persuade someone to support you. A candidate must woo voters by making them feel important. Wreak. To cause something to happen in a violent and often uncontrolled way. The recent storms have wreaked havoc on crops. Wry. Showing that you find a bad or difficult situation slightly funny. The girl's wry sense of humor causes her to laugh in some inappropriate situations. Xenophobia. Extreme dislike or fear of foreigners, their customs, their religions, etc. As a foreign aid volunteer, you should not have a case of xenophobia that hinders you from socializing with people. Yoke. To combine or connect two things. All these different political elements have somehow been yoked together to form a new alliance. Zealous. Enthusiastic and eager. Because my husband is a zealous supporter of the high school football team, he donates money to their organization every year.